So hey, TurtleShell, how long have you been homeless?
I'll say a few years. I've been homeless for a few years.
And how'd you become homeless?
I was evicted from my house. I lived in the house and I was evicted. The police showed up. I said, well, let me get my ID, my stuff. They're like, no. And they took me to jail for an eviction. The first time they showed up, for the eviction, I said, well, I need to get my stuff, and I closed the door on them. I guess the police were afraid to go in my house. I don't know why. Maybe because I specialize in building weapons. You know, like example, like barbed wire. I have a way to make a better barbed wire out of like the rotor rooter to unclog drains. It's a spring. You know, why would they make a barbed wire out of like with spikes or thorns metal to hurt the animal, and rather than use like a spring system like the rotor rooter to unclog. So if an animal hits it, it springs off of it. I have a lot of good inventions that I have in my noggin that would be more better and work more appropriately. You know, I don't understand, like on cars, they're running on a V8 or a V12, or like a Bentley works on a W. You know, I have good taste in things on ideas that make things better. I'm a, what do you call it? I try to be like a MacGyver. You know, you want to make a lighter, you get a pill bottle, 4 paper clips, pencil lead, plug it in. Current goes from the plug-in into the water with salt, and out again with the 2 other paper clips holding the pencil lead, and you can light a cigarette. You know, I'm trying to learn as much knowledge about, you know, about MacGyver type of stuff is my thing. Like, I want to build a new type of motorcycle where, like, for a man and a woman, you could drive a car and one motorcycle from the front bumper detaches, 2 tires swing out, the back bumper detaches, 2 tires swing out, and the rest of the car is like a tent. I haven't thought about making a company called TNT, tent and tent. You put 1 tent inside of another tent and creates an air barrier. You could stuff between the 2 tents, whatever, grass, you know, and it'll make it kind of like an air barrier. The outside, the inside temperature, you could throw your dirty laundry, whatever, you know, and even like an open hatch on the bottom floor in case you want to run like a sewer or a shower drain in the tent. And they don't build tents properly. The zippers always break, and plus that's why TNT, 2 tents, 1 tent inside another tent, because 1 door breaks, you have a secondary door for a backup system. I'm always thinking about my mind's always thinking about multiple things at once. I don't know. That's just the way my mind thinks.
You always have ideas and inventions in your head?
Yeah, I'm not racist at all. Example, I'm not racist at all. I think of like example, like the swastika as like a flower. There's a flower called Tagetes lemonade. I got it because it smelled good. And I looked it up on the computer one day, and it said it greatly enhances the effects of peyote, it makes peyote stronger. And I was like, what the heck? That's crazy. And I got that flower out of all flowers, and because it smelled good. It's an orange, I think it's a orange core with yellow petals, because it smelled good. And I like plants. And I'm trying to also become a land surveyor. So when I'm out there in the middle of nowhere, I could also study the plants, surveying the land. Like example, I was over at some wildlife refuge at a truck stop on the way when I first arrived in Arizona, and I noticed a lot of the Arizona plants have thorns. I'm like, huh. So when I laid down on the floor, I was like, a lot of thorns on the floor. So I want to study plants from state to state. And you know, like, you know, mint, there's mint, that's good. There's mint and spearmint are almost identical, like the leaf structures. Like ferns are always near the redwoods. You know, ferns always grow in the low grass, you know, above the redwoods. And the redwoods have like an anti-flammable bark, so that way it helps them not burn, because the bark is anti-flammable, which is interesting. So if you got that bark, you could probably put it around your tent in case there's a forest fire. That bark could, you know, protect the person sleeping in a tent. You know, like, say example, like say you're sleeping in a TNT tent and have like a netting system. You get that bark, put it over the tent, and put that bark in there, and have some kind of like glue. You can spray over the tent, and it'll like make it like a fiberglass with the bark of the redwoods, so the forest fire could just hit over. And that secondary door was used for the sewer system. You just go down there just in case for oxygen, because a fire thrives off of oxygen. So it'll pull all the oxygen out of, unless it's airtight. So I was thinking about a way to make the tent airtight. You know, maybe it was like a backup canister, so once the fire passes, you have a backup canister for air. And also I have to make the tent low profile, because most tents grow about waist high, so the tent will most likely be hidden. You know, like there's this company called RDD USA in, I think, City of Commerce. They sell old military tents. I was thinking about making my tents for the military, like Navy SEALs or Green Berets, Special Forces. So, you know, so they wanted to use it for you know, for training or whatever. You know, I'm thinking, my mind's very militarized. Like the last one of my books I was reading, it was called the Department of Defense Law of War Manual #2. It looks like the book went through a war. I'm always thinking like about construction too, like a fireplace. Why don't they build a smoke room above a fireplace? You say you're gonna kill a cow, right? And there's no refrigeration. Why? What are you gonna do with all that meat? You'll go to the second floor to the smoke room, make your beef jerky, or you use a clay pot, put another clay pot inside it, fill it bottom with sand, put a secondary clay pot in there, fill it with sand, and fill it with water, and then you put a towel over it. That's kind of like refrigeration, and then bury it. It also makes it even more cooler. That's a way of making a refrigeration unit. A clay pot with sand. And I'm always studying construction, like the Romans, how they built the road, with seashells, volcanic rock. You know, people don't know how to do construction nowadays. I don't know why, what's wrong with people. I see like a lot of construction, you could basically run through the door. It's, you know, why would they use pressure treated, you know, or not pressure treated, actually pressure treated is good. What's that called? MDF wood. I don't know, I study a lot of things about mechanics, construction, materials used. Like when they're running tile on the floor, why don't they just run one tile up? So when you're mopping, it doesn't hit the baseboard. The baseboard is like compressed cardboard, basically. When water hits it, it's no good. See a lot of mistakes. Or the wall. It's basically drywall, that pink stuff, and the outside stucco. You could break into a house just going through the wall. You don't need a door or a window. They should put at least chicken wire would help it out. You know, and you don't get really much money on your glass bottles, so you just break it up, glass bottles, put it in plastic bottles, and use that as a bricking system. You know, make glass bricks, and then, you know, recycle more efficiently.
How'd you get the name TurtleShell?
I thought of myself, well, actually, my old name was War Cloud. You know, I think of like a tank on a bolo system, one tank connected to another tank from a wire system. I imagine these tanks on a hot air balloon where they float in the sky, and all these tanks connect to make like a UFO shaped like a turtle shell in the sky, like a war cloud. And they arrive in America. Oh, actually, you don't have to build, like say it was made in Germany. You could technically make tanks in America with a stamp made in Germany if that person's company had diplomatic immunity from Germany, because he could technically, his building could be Germany. He has an authorization to put made in Germany in America because of the diplomatic status, which is crazy and strange. Example, like say if you're a diplomatic from Mexico or Russia, and then cops around, they'd be like, you say, hey, you're a diplomatic from that country, and you have no power over to search your car, or everywhere you walk to a certain distance will be considered Mexico, or, you know, or whatever country, you know. And I always have to wonder things like, say on your birth certificate, you're getting your name from your parents. So when you reach a certain age, why isn't there a blank spot for me to write TurtleShell on my birth certificate? Why do I have to depend on parents who you know, for them to name me? I know how to speak, I would say intelligently or smart enough to determine what my name should be. You know, so at first I picked War Cloud, and then I made it more calmer to TurtleShell, because the War Cloud means, like, to me, it means like a bunch of tanks connected to make a shape of a UFO, like in the sky dimension. People are like, what is that? Is that a UFO? Because it means I was almost said dinosaur. Well, everyone knows what UFO stands for. You'd be like, what is that? And then they could just like detach one, you know, like I was telling you about the clock, how it goes like this way, and how do you make it go reverse without stopping? You just flip the timepiece, and it's going counter. So the tanks would disassemble in that same pattern. So even if the thing could even flip upside down. People are like, what is going on? That thing's flipping like in the movie Arrival, how it's kind of like that. People are like, I like to study languages, is my main thing. Like the correlation from word to word, from country to country. Example, like passport, it's not spelled P-A-S-T, it's spelled P-S-S, pass. Not your past, like your history, no. See, I'm always trying to navigate my mind through different chapters of the world, like prehistoric times. Like, okay, we are in like cool times, like cool, perfect temperature for us. What if we hit a new prehistoric ice age? I call it the terror period, the most terrible and horrific ice age the world has ever experienced. I'm like, fuck, imagine that. The world has ever experienced where it just hits. You're like, oh, it's just frozen. Everything's frozen, it's cold. And the desert's kind of cold. Hold on, I'm gonna check something real fast. That's just my way of thinking. I have a lot of good ideas. I don't mind sharing knowledge, because knowledge is like money or like food or whatever. People have a lot of, what do you call it? They want to hide knowledge. Me, I don't have a problem with sharing knowledge that I thought of or found or anything. Imagine you find something that's highly advanced. Like imagine technology is so advanced, not even modern technology can detect.
TurtleShell.
Yes.
I'm gonna say thank you very much for talking to me. Thank you for sharing with me all your ideas, all your inventions, and talking to me for a little bit today. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and hand you a goodie bag.
All right.
If you can check it out, see if there's items in there that you like, that you need. Let me know what's in there, TurtleShell.
Okay, I see coffee cup, some candy, seems like socks, and a blanket, maybe a shirt. Most likely it is shirt. And another Ziploc bag with something in it. I don't know what it is. And I think some gloves. And the gloves I actually need because I put my socks, my gloves inside my socks. You know, like I put long socks in. I put short socks, and I could just tuck them in when I need them. Get out the socks. And I actually needed gloves. I don't know where mine are. They're somewhere. But thank you, mister.
So that's that bag, and there's also a letter from a Shorty. From Shorty, and there's a gift card in there for you, okay?
Thank you, mister.
So please read the letter, okay?
I will,
so,
mister.
Thank you, TurtleShell. Stay safe, okay?
Thank you.
Talk to you
too,
later.
mister.
Bye.
Thank you. You have a good day.